Hey guys, before this video starts, I just wanted to let you guys know that Roblox is currently experiencing some issues, so you won't see me in the studio this time, so I have to do this history video a little bit different. So without further ado, let's jump right into the history video. Sainsbury's is the second largest chain of supermarkets in the United Kingdom. The company was founded in 1869 in Holborn, London, United Kingdom by John James Sainsbury. As of March of 2019, the company has a total of 1,428 shops. So, how did it become so popular? Let's find out. Origin and growth from 1869 to 1955. Sainsbury's was established as a partnership in 1869 when John James Sainsbury and his wife Mary Ann opened a shop at 173 Drury Lane in Holborn, London. Sainsbury's started as a retailer of fresh foods and later expanded into packaged groceries such as tea and sugar. His trade-in philosophy, as stated on a sign outside his first shop in Islington, was quality perfect, prices lower. Shops started to look familiar, so in order for people to recognize them throughout London, a high cast iron J Sainsbury sign featured on every shop so their shops could be seen from a distance. And round the back, deliveries started to add extra convenience and not upset rivals due to Sainsbury's popularity. In 1922, Jane Sainsbury was incorporated as a private company, Jane Sainsbury Limited. Groceries were introduced in 1903 when John James purchased a grocer's branch at 12 Kingsland High Street, Dalston. Home delivery featured in every shop as there were fewer cars in those days. Sites were carefully chosen with a central position and a parade selected in preference to a corner shop. This allowed a larger display of products which could be kept cooler in summer, which was important as there were no refrigeration. By the time John James Sainsbury died in 1928, there were over 128 shops. He was replaced by his eldest son, John Benjamin Sainsbury, who had gone into partnership with his father in 1915. During the 1930s and 1940s, the company continued to refine its product offerings and maintain its leadership in terms of shop design, convenience, and cleanliness. The company acquired the Midlands-based Through-Good chain in 1936. The founder's grandsons, Alan Sainsbury, later Lord Sainsbury of Drury Lane, and Sir Robert Sainsbury, became joint managing directors in 1938 after their father, John Benjamin Sainsbury, had a minor heart attack. Following the outbreak of World War II, many of the men who worked for Sainsbury were called to perform national service and were replaced by women. The Second World War was a difficult time for Sainsbury, as most of its shops were trading in the London area and were bombed or damaged. Turnover fell to half the pre-war level. Food was rationated, and one particular shop in East Grinstead was so badly damaged on Friday the 9th. In July 1943, that it had to move to the local torch temporarily while a new one was built. This shop was not completed until 1950. Self-service and heyday from 1956 to 1991. In 1956, Alan Sainsbury became chairman after the death of his father, John Benjamin Sainsbury. During the 1950s and 1960s, Sainsbury was a keen early adopter of self-service supermarkets in the United Kingdom. The first self-service shop within the country was a cooperative shop opened in 1942. On a trip to the United States of America, Alan Sainsbury realized the benefits of self-service shops and believed the future of Sainsbury was self-service supermarkets of 10,000 square feet, which is 930 meters squared, which eventually the added bonus of a car park for extra convenience. The first self-service branch opened in Croydon in 1950. Sainsbury was a pioneer in the development of own brand goods. The aim was to offer products that matched the quality of nationally branded goods at a lower price. It expanded more cautiously than it did Tesco, shunning accusations, and it never offered trading stamps. Until the company went public on July 12, 1973, as J. Sainsbury plc, the company was wholly owned by the Sainsbury family. It was at the time the largest ever flotation on the London Stock Exchange. The company rewarded the smaller bids for shares in order to curate as many shareholders as possible. 1 million shares were set aside for staff, which led to many staff members buying shares that shot up in value. Within 1 minute, the list of applications was closed. £495 million had been offered for 14.5 million available shares. The Sainsbury family at the time retained 85% of the firm's shares. Most of the senior positions were held by family members. John David Sainsbury, later Lord Sainsbury of Preston Candover, a member of the fourth generation of the founding family, took over the chairmanship from his uncle Sir Robert Sainsbury in 1969, who had been chairman for 2 years from 1967, following Alan Sainsbury's retirement. Sainsbury started to replace its 10,000 square foot, which is 930 meters squared, high street shops with self-service supermarkets above 20,000 square feet, which is 1,900 meters square, which took over, which were either in out-of-town locations or regenerated town centers. Sainsbury's policy was to invest in uniform, well-designed shops with a strong emphasis on quality. Its slogan was "Good food costs less." Good food costs less at Sainsbury's. During the 1970s, the average size of Sainsbury's shops rose from 10,000 square feet, which is 930 meters squared, to around 18,000 square feet, which is 1,700 meters squared. The first edge of town shop with 24,000 square feet, which is 2,200 meters squared, of selling space was opened at Coldham's Lane in Cambridge in 1974. The last counter-service branch closed in Peckham in 1982. To participate in the hypermarket sector, Sainsbury formed a joint venture known as Sava Centre with British Home Stores. The first Sava Centre shop was opened in Washington Tyne and Ware in 1977. Nearly half the space, amounting to some 35,000 square feet, which is 3,300 meters squared, was devoted to textiles, electrical goods, and hardware. As the hypermarket format became more mainstream with rivals such as Asda and Tesco launching at ever larger shops, it was decided that a separate brand was no longer needed, and the shops were converted to the regular Sainsbury Super Shop format in September 1999. Another diverse faction took place in 1979 when Sainsbury formed a joint venture with the Belgian retailer GB&OBM to set up a chain of do-it-yourself shops under the Homebase name. Sainsbury sold the Homebase chain in December 2000 in a townfold deal worth £969 million. Sales of the chain of shops to venture capitalist Schroeder Ventures generated £750 million in sale of 28 development sites, which had been earmarked for future home-based shops, were sold for £219 million to rival B&Q's parent company, Kingfisher plc. In November 1983, Sainsbury purchased 21% of Shaw's Supermarkets, the second largest retailer of groceries in the northeastern United States, primarily in New England. In June 1987, Sainsbury acquired the rest of the company with the intention of creating a high-quality regional food retailing business based on the same principles as the UK-based operation. In 1985, the chairman reported that over the preceding 10 years, profits had grown from £15 million to over £168 million, a compound annual rise of 30.4%. After allowing for inflation, a real annual growth rate of 17.6%. During the 1980s, the company invested the new technology. The proportion of sales passing through EPOS scanning checkouts rose from 1% to 90%. With the advent of town shopping complexes during the 1980s, Sainsbury's was one of the many big retail names to open new shops in such complexes, notably with its shop at the Meadowhall Shopping Centre, Sheffield, originally as Seva Centre in 1990, which was converted into a regular Sainsbury's shop in 2005 and was closed in 2006, and the Maryhill Shopping Centre at Brearley Hill in the West Midlands, part of Enterspire Zone, which opened in 1989. Sainsbury's expanded its operation into Scotland with a shop Darnley, which opened in January 1992 at the Seva Centre at Cameron Toll in Edinburgh had opened in 1984. In June 1995, Sainsbury announced its intention to move into the Northern Ireland market, until that point dominated by local companies. Between December 1996 and December 1998, the company opened 7 shops. 2 others at Sprucefields, Lisburn, and Hollywood Exchange. Belfast would not open until 2003 due to protracted legal challenges. Sainsbury moved into Northern Ireland was undertaken in a very different way from that of Tesco, while Sainsbury's outlets were all new developments. Tesco, apart from one Tesco Metro, instead purchased existing chains from Associated British Foods, see Tesco Ireland. In 1991, Sainsbury Group boasted a 12-year record of divided increases of 20% or more, and earnings per share had risen by as much for nearly as long. Also in 1991, the company raised £489 million in new equity to fund the expansion of super shops. Sainsbury's decline from 1992 to 1998. In 1992, the longtime CEO John David Sainsbury retired and was succeeded as chairman and chief executive by his cousin David Sainsbury, later Lord Sainsbury of Turville. This brought about a change in the management style. David was more consensual and less hierarchical, but not in strategy or in corporate beliefs about the company's place in the market. Mistakes by David Sainsbury and his successors Dino Adriano and Peter Davies included the rejection of loyalty cards, the reluctance to move into non-food retailing, the indecision between whether to go quality or for value, the sometimes brutal treatment of suppliers, which led to suppliers favoring Tesco over Sainsbury's, and the unsuccessful John Cleese advertising campaign. At the end of 1983, it announced price cuts on 300 of its most popular own label lines. Significantly, this came 3 months after Tesco had launched its line Tesco Value. A few months later, Sainsbury announced that margins had fallen, that the pace of new super shops construction would slow down, and that it would write down the value of some of its properties. In 1994, Sainsbury announced a new town centre format, Sainsbury Central, again a response to Tesco's Metro, which was already established in 5 locations. Also in 1994, Sainsbury lost the takeover battle for William Lowe. Like Tesco, Sainsbury had long been underrepresented in Scotland. Also that year, David Sainsbury dismissed Tesco's Club Card initiative as an electronic version of Green Shield stamps. The company was soon forced to backtrack, introducing its own reward card 18 months later. For much of the 20th century, Sainsbury had been the market leader in the supermarket sector in the United Kingdom, but in 1995 it's lost its place as the country's largest retailer of groceries to Tesco. Some new ventures were successfully notable. The launch of a retailer bank, Sainsbury's Bank, in partnership with Bank of Scotland. In addition to Shaw, Sainsbury's bought a minority stake in another supermarket group, Giant Food, based in Washington, D.C., although the shareholding subsequently sold when a hold of the Netherlands made a full bid for the company. An arrangement in late 1995 with Supermarket Direct made Sainsbury's the first major groceries retailer in the UK to offer a home delivery service. Sainsbury also trebled the size of its home-based do-it-yourself business during 1996 by merging its business with Texas Home Care, which in January 1995 it acquired from Landbrook for £290 million. In May 1996, the company reported its first fall in profits for 22 years. David Sainsbury announced management changes involving the appointment of 2 chief executives, one in charge of supermarkets within the United Kingdom, Dino Adriano, and the other responsible for home base in the United States, David Bremner. Finally, in 1998, David Sainsbury himself resigned from the company to pursue a career in politics. He was succeeded as a non-executive chairman by George Bull, who had been chairman of Diageo, and Adriano was promoted to be group chief executive. The brand relaunched from 1998 to 2003. In June 1998, Sainsbury's unveiled its new corporate identity, which was developed by M&T Saatchi, which consisted the current company logo, new corporate colors of living orange, and blue interstate as the company's new general use lowercase font from the old all uppercase font. The new slogan, Making Life Taste Better, which replaced its old slogan from the 1960s, and new staff uniforms. The strapline dropped in May 2005 and replaced in September of that year by Try Something New Today. This new brand statement was curated by a bot med, Vickers BBDO. While the interstate font was used almost exclusively for many years, the company introduced another informal font in 2005, which is used in a wide range of advertising and literature. In 1999, Sainsbury's acquired an 80.1% share of Egyptian distribution group SAE, a retailer in Egypt with 100 shops and 2,000 employees. However, poor profitability led to the sale of this share in April 2001. On October 8, 1999, the CEO, Dino Adriano, lost control of the core supermarket business within the United Kingdom, instead assuming responsibility for the rest of the group. David Bremner became head of the supermarkets in the United Kingdom. This was dreaded by the city and described as a fudge. On January 14, 2000, Sainsbury reversed this decision by announcing the replacement of Adriano by Sir Peter Davies, effective from March. Between 2000 and 2004, Sir Peter Davies was chief executive of Sainsbury's. Davies' appointment was well received by investors and analysts. In his first 2 years, he exceeded profit targets, although by 2004 the group had suffered a decline in performance relative to its competitors and was demoted to third in the groceries market within the United Kingdom. Davies also oversaw an almost £3 billion upgrade of shops, distribution, and equipment entitled Business Transformation Programmee, but his successor would later reveal that much of this investment was wasted, and he failed in his key goal, improving availability. Part of this investment saw the construction of 4 fully automated depots, which at £100 million each cost 4 times more than standard depots. In 2001, Sainsbury's moved into its current headquarters at Holborn, London. Sainsbury's previously occupied Stamford House and 12 other buildings around Southwark. However, the accounting department remained separate at Streatham. The building was designed by architectural firm Foster and Partners and had been developed on the former Mirror Group site.
I'm striding up to the kitchen, whipping up to a rhythm, and the mission is cooking up something that we've been missing. Listen, you hear that sizzling, a whiff of what's in the mix. I'm fixing has got us grinning while we're licking our lips like, we can boogie.
Which was launched in September 2002.
What's that? Oh, you want some more? Wondering what we got in store? With a veg on the chopping board, so fresh it'll make you drop your jaw. And there's lots of course. Whatever you want is yours. Casserole in the pot that'll make your body pop and lock for sure. Sing it to me now.
The Sainsbury Reward Card.
Once you hear that timer, everything has been prepared. Wiggle for me, then throw them ovens up in the air. Whatever kitchen you fit in, whatever is on your shelf. If you dance while you're cooking, you know you're living well. Sing it. Sing it to me now.
The Trade and Industry Secretary referred the various bids to the Competition Commission, which reported its findings on September 26th. The Commission found that all bids, with the exception Morrison's, would operate against the public interest. As part of the approval, Morrison's was to dispose of 53 of the combined group's shops. In May 2004, Sainsbury announced that it would acquire 14 of these shops, 13 Safeway shops and 1 Morrison's outlet, located primarily in the Midlands of the north of England, making Sainsbury's great again from 2004 to 2006. At the end of 2004, Davies was promoted to chairman and was replaced as CEO by Justin King. King joined Sainsbury's from Marks and Spencer plc, where he was a director and with responsibility for its food division and King's Supermarkets Incorporated subsidiary in the United States. Schooled in Solihull near Birmingham and a graduate of the University of Bath, where he took a business administration degree. King was also previously a managing director at Asda with the responsibility for hypermarkets. In June 2004, Davies was forced to quit in the face of an impending shareholder revolt over his salary and bonuses. Investors were angered by a bonus share award of over £2 million, despite poor company performance. On July 19, 2004, Davies' replacement, Philip Hampton, was appointed as chairman.
My name is Jim.
King ordered a direct mail campaign to 1 million Sainsbury's customers as part of his 6-month business review, asking them what they wanted from the company and where the company could improve. This reaffirmed the commentary of retail analysts. The group was not ensuring that shelves are fully stocked. This due to the failure of the systems introduced by Peter Davies. In October 19, 2004, King unveiled the results of the business review and his plans to revive the company's fortunes and a 3-year recovery plan entitled Making Sainsbury's Great Again. This was generally well received by both the stock market and the media. Immediate plans included laying off over 750 headquarters staff and recruitment of around 3,000 shop floor staff to improve the quality of service and the firm's main problem, stock availability. The aim would be to increase sales revenue by £2.5 billion by the financial year ending March 2008. Another significant announcement was having of the dividend to increase funds available for the price cuts and quality. King hired Lawrence Christensen as supply chain director in 2004. Previously, he was an expert in logistics at Safeway, but left following its takeover by Morrisons. Immediate supply chain improvements included the reactivation of 2 distribution centers. At the time of the business review on October 19, 2004, referring to the availability problems, Justin King said Lawrence hadn't seen anything that he hadn't seen before. He just hadn't seen them all in the same place at the same time. In 2006, Christensen commented on the 4 automated depots introduced by Davy, saying, "Not a single day went by without one, if not all of them breaking down. The systems were flawed. They have to stop for 4 hours every day for maintenance. But because they were constantly breaking down, you would be playing catch up. It was a vicious circle," Christensen said, as a fundamental mistake was to build 4 such depots at once rather than building one which could be thoroughly tested before progressing with the others. In 2007, Sainsbury's announced a further £12 million investment in its depots to keep pace with sales growth and the removal of the failed automated systems from its depots. In addition, it did deal with IBM to upgrade its electronic point of sale systems as a result of increased sales. Sainsbury's sold its subsidiary in America, Shaw's, to Albertsons in March 2004. Also in 2004, Sainsbury expanded its share of the convenience shop market through acquisitions. Bell's Stores, a chain of 54 shops based in Northeast England, was acquired in February 2004. Jackson Stores, a chain of 114 shops based in Yorkshire and the North Midlands, was purchased in August 2004. J.B. Beaumont, a chain of 6 shops in the East Midlands, was acquired in November 2004. F.L. Shaw Ltd., which owned 6 shops, was acquired on April 28, 2005 for £6 million. Since the launch of King's Recovery Programme, the company has reported 19 consecutive quarters of sales growth, most recently in October 2009. Early sales increases was credited to solving problems with the company's distribution system. More recent sales improvements have been put down to price cuts and the company's focus on fresh and healthy food. Takeover bids in 2007. On February 2nd, 2007, after months of speculation about a private equity bid, CVC Capital Partners, Kohlberg, Kravis Roberts, KKR, and Blackstone Group announced that they were considering a bid for Sainsbury's. The consortium grew to include Goldman Sachs and Texas Pacific Group. On March 6, 2007, with a formal bid yet to be tabled, the takeover panel issued a bid deadline of April 13th. On April 4th, KKR left the consortium to focus on its bid for Alliance Boots. On April 5th, the consortium submitted an indicative offer of £562 a share to the company's board. After discussion between Sir Philip Hampton and the 2 largest Sainsbury's family shareholders, Lord Sainsbury of Turville and Lord Sainsbury of Preston Candover, the offer was rejected. On April 9th, the indicative offer was raised to £582 a share. However, this was too rejected. This meant the consortium could not satisfy its own preconditions for a bid. Most importantly, 75% shareholder support. The combined Sainsbury family holding at the time was 18%. Lord Sainsbury of Turville, who then held 7.75% of Sainsbury, stated that he could see no reason why the Sainsbury board would even consider opening its books for due diligence for anything less than £600 per share. Lord Sainsbury of Preston Candover was just under 3%, was more extreme than his cousin, and refused to sell at any price. He believed any offer at that stage of Sainsbury recovery was likely to undervalue the business, with the private equity seeking high returns on their investments. Saw no reason to sell, given that current management, led by Justin King, could deliver the extra generated for the benefit of existing investors. He claimed the bid brought nothing to the business, and that high levels of debt would significantly weaken the company and its competitive position in the long term, which would have an adverse effect on Sainsbury's stakeholders. On April 11th, the CVC-led consortium abandoned its offer, stating it became clear with the consortium would be unable to make a proposal that would result in a successful offer. In May 2007, Sainsbury identified 5 areas of growth. Growth of non-food ranges, opening a new convenience shop, and growth of online home delivery and banking operations. Expansion of supermarket space through new shops and development of the company's largely underdeveloped shop portfolio, and an active property management. On April 2007, Delta 2 Equatori Investments Company bought a 14% stake in Sainsbury's, causing its share price to rise 7.17%, and the increased its holding to 17.6%. Their interest in Sainsbury's is sought to center on its property portfolio. They increased the stake to 25% in June 2007. On July 18, 2007, BBC News reported that Delta 2 had tabled a condition bid in proposal. Paul Taylor, the principal of Delta 2, flew David and John Sainsbury to Sardinia to reveal and discuss the potential bid, which amounted to £600 per share. The family had reservations about the price of the bid. They were also concerned about the proposed structure, which involves splitting the business into an operating company and a highly leveraged property company. They were additionally concerned about adequacy of funding, both for the bid and the company's pension scheme. On November 5th, 2007, it was announced Delta 2 had abandoned its takeover bid due to the deterioration of credit markets and concerns about funding companies' pensions. Administrative changes. On October 4th, 2007, Sainsbury's announced plans to relocate its store's supercenter from Holborn to King's Cross in 2011. The new office will be part of a new complex to allow for both cost savings and energy efficiency. These savings will be made through the use of efficient building materials and design, a combined heat and power energy center, and the use of renewable energy sources. In January 2008, Sainsbury's brought its number of its supermarkets in Northern Ireland to 11, with the purchase of 2 Curly's supermarkets in Dungannon and Belfast, which includes those shops, petrol stations, and off-licenses. In November 2007, Sainsbury centralized its HR department, relocating to the 17th and 18th floors of the Manchester Arndale Centre to form a shared service centre, which was initially deal with recruitment in Scotland and was later rolled out to the whole country. July 2009 saw the HR Service Centre in Manchester expanded to include most HR processes in its colleague administration department and occupational health inquiries in a dedicated unit. Since April 2012, the centre has begun a gradual relocation of its new offices in the centre of Lincoln, along with a rebrand and partial relaunch as Sainsbury's HR Services. Further reorganization has seen central finance operations move from the Holborn head office to Manchester, and property division move to Anthony Park in Convertry. Most of the remaining Holborn operations are likely to move to Convertry in due course as Sainsbury's looks to reduce costs by moving out of central London. Developing the business from 2009 to 2016. In March 2009, Sainsbury's reached an agreement to buy 24 shops in the cooperative group, 22 of which were Somerfield shops, which the group were required to sell as a condition of their takeover of Somerfield. A further 9 shops were purchased from the cooperative group in June 2009. These were concentrated in West Wales, the North England of Scotland, where Sainsbury's market share is low. In May 2010, Sainsbury's confirmed a multi-million-pound deal with the London Organising Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games, LOCG, to the main sponsor of the 2012 Paralympic Games. Under the deal, Sainsbury's sold Paralympic merchandise and became involved in high-profile events such as the Torch Relay. It became one of the 2 sponsors able to take advantage of the limited branding allowed within the games. The promotional rights did not extend to the Olympics. After the Paralympic Games, the company decided to sponsor the British Paralympic Association through to Rio 2016. On November 30th, 2011, Sainsbury's reached the first milestone in its vision for 2020 by opening its 1,000th self-service shop in Irvine, Scotland. To celebrate this, Sainsbury's doubled its staff discount to 20% for the first 4 days of December. In January 2014, Sainsbury's completed the purchase of the 50% share in Sainsbury's Bank owned by Lloyds Banking Group. In July 2014, the company began powering one of its shops by converting food waste into biomethane gas to generate electricity. The group became the first retailer to come off the national grid by its own means. In July 2016, Arcus FM extended its facilities management contract with Sainsbury's, securing a 10-year renewal. Arcus won the initial contract in 2009 and saw the contract extended in 2011. Multi-channel retailer and restructuring from 2016 to now. After a 4-month pursuit in April 2016, Home Retail Group agreed to be taken over by Sainsbury for £1.4 billion, and Sainsbury's completed the acquisition in September 2016. The deal included catalog chain Argos and furnishing retailer Habitat, which made Sainsbury's the largest retailer of merchandise in the UK. Once the deal was complete, the Jane Sainsbury's Group was split into its 3 new divisions of Sainsbury's, Sainsbury's Bank, and Sainsbury's Argos, including Habitat. Throughout 2016 and 2017, Sainsbury's pursued expansion of its multi-channel strategy, increasing the number of groceries, click-and-collect points, and online fulfillment locations to serve its online delivery network, including opening a dark store in Bromley by Vow to serve the London area, increasing geographical coverage of its same-day groceries delivery network, and integrating concessions into its shops such as Argos, Habitat, Timpson's, and Starbucks. In November 2016, Sainsbury's announced its intentions to cut £500 million of costs from its business. In March 2017, 400 jobs were cut and 4,000 jobs were reorganized, mainly affecting employees in night shift and commercial operation, cash office, and price control roles. In August 2017, 1,000 jobs were cut throughout all of its head office and support centers, affecting a variety of functions. In October 2017, changes to security contracts meant that provider MITI reduced the number of security officers within shops. In the same month, Sainsbury's announced plans to axe all shop-based human resource employees, including HR managers, payroll clerks, administration clerks, and learning and development managers, overall affecting 1,400 jobs. Additionally, another 600 jobs at its head offices were cut. In January 2018, Sainsbury's announced proposals to overhaul shop management structures, which would result in job losses in the thousands. On February 1st, 2018, Sainsbury's announced the purchase of Nectar from Anima. The deal, costing £60 million, gives full control of all data stored by the loyalty scheme to Sainsbury's Argos. Sainsbury's was one of the co-founders of the scheme and was the most prominent participant of the scheme. EMEA employees working on Nectar will become Sainsbury's employees, but the team will remain at a separate structure away from Sainsbury's. In March 2018, Sainsbury's announced that it would be increasing base rates of pay for its staff to retain the best workers. It said it would increase pay by 15% in the year, spending an extra £100 million on a plan that will also simplify the number of job roles. Abandoned merger with Asda. In April 2018, Sainsbury's entered talks with Walmart about a proposed merger with Asda, which could form the largest UK supermarket company. Under the plans, Walmart would own 42% of the combined business, which would be led by the existing chief executive Sainsbury's Mike Coop. The group would also open branches of Argos within Asda's shops. However, the Competition and Markets Authority, the UK's regulatory on anticipation competitive practices, said in the February 2019 and that it could block the merger. On April 25th, 2019, the Competition and Markets Authority blocked the merger and it was abandoned by Sainsbury's. And there's the history of Sainsbury's. How did it become so popular? Well, I think the reason why it's like the second largest grocery retailer in the United Kingdom is because of the fact of all of its mergers that it's done back in the past. Anyways, I sure hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys happen to enjoy this video, please make sure you hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one, and hopefully I will see you hopefully the next history video will be in the Roblox studio. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one.